So whatever happened to video blogging? I remember when I was looking into blogging back in 2003 and 4, there was something called video blogging. Sometimes it was called vid blogs, various terminology. But the idea that somebody would do just as I'm doing now, sit in front of a camera, record it, post it online as a blog, seemed like something that would be pretty well received and used in all kinds of contexts. And yet, I don't think that it's done, especially in the world of education, it's been used in much form at all. Certainly not in the long term. There have been some short types of projects that use video and video blogging as a format, but not in the way I think that I had envisioned. That's for sure. YouTube still remains a place where I think we see a lot of people that would, whether we don't maybe not call it a blog, but they're using their YouTube channels in this kind of talking head format. But I began to think about why that is, and some of the things that might hinder from us doing that, and why we might want to reconsider that. I mean, first of all, video blogging is challenging because the most obvious thing is most people don't like that they're in front of a camera talking. That's a little intimidating, and believe me, the first few times I did this, I felt exactly the same way. I think I'm at a point now where I've done this enough for a number of projects that I don't feel quite as awkward. But part of what I think the appeal of this is to me is that it is much more conversational. When I first got into blogging, and I still believe it, is that it's less of a published, finished form and much more conversational. Blogs are intended to be conversational. That's why we have comments on the bottom. That's why we exchange ideas, we clarify, we ask questions. And so that's why this format, to me, seems much more conversational. As you can see, I haven't written anything down, and that might be evident by occasional ramblings and pauses and so forth. And that's why writing potentially is the more cleaner communication tool, because you do have a chance to edit and cut out things. But again, that's a form of a published work that we're more comfortable with. This is a conversation. I'm talking, and you can see me, you can hear me, you get a sense of time and space and who I am, personality-wise and so forth, that you don't always get from text. The second thing I think to think about is the fact that, in general, video is a much more just physically larger piece of content online. I mean, by the time this is done here, it may be a 6 or 7 minute video. I don't know. I'm at the 3-minute mark now. I got a few more things I want to talk about, but file size wise, it's going to be quite large. Whereas had I written out this same content, minuscule amounts of data as compared to what this is. So there's a little bit of that. Mind you, with the advent of more broadband, we're not quite as concerned with these kinds of things and the size of the data. Again, certainly harder to edit. I could, in fact, go back and chop this up, but I'm not going to. This is just going to be kind of how the way it is. The other thing that's challenging with video is that it's much harder. It's nearly impossible to search and scan, whereas you can look at any amount of text and use a number of tools and methods in which you can scan, or just even visually you can skim from beginning to end rather quickly and find the points or the ideas that you want, or get a sense, I guess, early on if it's something you really want to now sit down and delve into. At this point, if you're still with me, you've invested 4 minutes and 15 seconds of your life, and you may not feel like you're getting a lot of value out of it, to which I apologize. But again, that's part of the negative of a video. It just doesn't scan very easily. I remember a couple years ago I put a plugin on my site called, I think it was called, I'm going to say Gliffy, but I know that's not the right term. But it was a plugin for WordPress where people could, instead of using text, they could actually click a button, record a video comment, or just audio. And I remember when I put it in, I kind of put it in a blog post, just letting people know that that feature was there. And early on, I had a few people would take me up on that, but very, very few people would bother doing that, because there's an anonymity and a security, I think, behind text. I'm definitely putting myself out there at this point by speaking. All of this, and I'm going to wrap this up right now, so don't feel like you have to. Here comes the good part, right? I really think that there is something special and unique about using these kinds of tools to communicate a better sense of trust and community when people are more transparent and more open in the way that they have a conversation. I guess the struggle is figuring out the spaces and places that are most appropriate to use video in this context, and when text still can trump video. I don't have that quite sorted out, so this would be a great opportunity for you. If you're so brave and you could do a video response to this on YouTube, wow! But even if in the comments below you have some thoughts around the use of video as opposed to text, particularly in an online environment, and particularly as we think about building trust and community and having conversations about learning. So drop a line below if you would, or post a video if that does work for you. But I'm really curious as to hear why and when you think, what you think has happened to video blogging, if it was just a fad, or if there's any way that it might come back and be a viable form of communication. I still think it has a place, and again, those are my thoughts in again a much more random, rambling kind of way, but I hope that there's something here that stimulates thought and ideas for you. Have a great one.